This video pertains to Notes 6.8b and Homework 6.8b. This lesson deals with two lines that are intersected by a third line. So for example, on this picture, we see two lines that are parallel. But then we have a third line that cuts across those two. That third line is called a transversal because it crosses two other lines. We have all sorts of names for the angles that are formed when we have two lines cut by a transversal. The first set of angles are called corresponding angles. Corresponding angles would be like this angle here and this angle here. So if you were to describe these angles, you could say that they occupy the same relative position as each other. Or if you think of it as a map of a city, you could think that there is some building on this street corner. Well, where would that street corner be on a different intersection? It would be right here. So it's the same street corner on two different intersections. There are other sets of corresponding angles as well. So we could say that this angle corresponds with this angle. Then we have what are called interior and exterior angles. Interior means inside. Exterior means outside. So the interior angles would be angles that are inside of the two parallel lines. Conversely, exterior angles would be angles that are outside of the two parallel lines. We can break this down further. We have what are called same-side interior angles. Same-side interior angles are interior angles that are on the same side of the transversal. So the two angles marked in green are same-side interior angles. Alternate interior angles would be angles that are also inside, but they are on opposite sides of the transversal. Then we have the same side exterior angles. The same side exterior angles would be on the outside of the two parallel lines, but on the same side of the transversal. And lastly, alternate exterior angles are again outside of the two parallel lines, but they're on opposite sides of the transversal. Now, it would be nice for you to remember these words, but you don't have to memorize it, because if you understand what the words mean, like interior, exterior, alternate, and same side, then it should be easy to remember where these angle pairs are. Let's do some examples, though, from your assignment. The key to remember when you're solving these problems is that all of the angle pairs are either going to be congruent or supplementary. They're either congruent, which means they have the same angle measure, or they're supplementary, which means they add up to 180 degrees. But let's go back and look at those angles again. If I look at, say, same side interior angles, so we're looking at these green angles, do they look like they're the same angle measure? For example, this green angle appears to be acute, or less than 90 degrees, where this green angle appears to be obtuse, or more than 90 degrees. So if one of them is acute and one of them is obtuse, then they certainly cannot be the same. Therefore, they are supplementary. On the other hand, if you look at the purple angles here, which are alternate interior angles, this angle is acute, this angle is acute, but in fact, if you were to take this purple angle and cut it out and lay it directly on top of this one, you would see that the two angles fit perfectly on top of each other because they are congruent. The same thing applies to the exterior angles. If you look at the alternate exterior angles, the purple ones, this obtuse angle, if you were to cut it out and place it on top of this purple angle, you would see that they fit perfectly. They are congruent. Whereas this yellow same side exterior angle is obtuse, and its partner over here is acute. So they would not fit perfectly on top of each other. And in fact, they are supplementary. So let's look at number 5 on our assignment. On number 5, we have to decide whether the two angles marked are either congruent or supplementary. Well, what kind of angles are they? If you look back at your notes, you will see that they are corresponding angles because they occupy the same position on their respective intersections. They appear to be congruent because if you cut out the 80-degree angle and laid it on top of the other angle, you would see that they match perfectly. So we know that they are congruent. So we will set this up as an equation by putting 80 equals x plus 88. We want to solve this equation for x, so we subtract 88 from both sides of the equation, and we end up with a solution of x equals -8. Now let's look at number 15. On number 15, these two angles appear to be congruent. Well, the 60-degree angle is obviously acute, but the angle marked as x plus 123 appears to be obtuse. So they are not congruent, which means they must be supplementary. If the two angles are supplementary, then our equation looks a little different. It's going to say 60 plus x plus 123 equals 180, because supplementary angles always add up to 180 degrees. Now we combine our like terms. 60 plus 123 equals 183. I want to get my variable term by itself, so I subtract 183 from both sides of the equation. And I get my solution, x equals -3. The odd answers appear at the end of each assignment, and at the end of the week, I will post the even answers in Google Classroom. Thank you.